Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Thomas.
I'm Laura Painter. Thanks so much for joining us for ABC10 News at 5:30.
We do want to start tonight with developing news. Nick, the son of Rob Reiner, is now facing 2 counts of first-degree murder in the stabbing death of his parents.
Nick Reiner is being held without bail in L.A. If convicted, he faces life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty.
These charges will be 2 counts of first-degree murder with the special circumstance of multiple murders. He also faces a special allegation that he personally used a dangerous and deadly weapon, that being a knife.
Officials say they haven't decided on seeking the death penalty yet. Nick Reiner was arrested Sunday night after officials found Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle dead in their L.A. home. Nick is expected to appear in court tomorrow. Meanwhile, fans and friends are mourning the death of the famed Hollywood director. Governor Gavin Newsom appearing to get emotional when commenting on Reiner's murder.
He's been a friend for decades, and he's actually was their co-host on an event that I'm doing later this week. So it just breaks my heart, and I don't know enough. We don't know enough, but if indeed, an own member of their own family, how do you unpack that?
Reiner was a filmmaking giant on and off the screen. He got his start in acting, rocketing to fame in the hit TV show All in the Family. As a director, he led some of the biggest movies of the 90s, including When Harry Met Sally, A Few Good Men, and The Princess Bride. A memorial was set up on his Hollywood Walk of Fame star after news of his death. Reiner was also a prominent activist and major Democratic booster. He was 78. His wife, Michelle Singer, was 68.
New tonight, a Texas-based nonprofit that inserted itself into Stockton after the city's deadly mass shooting is now facing scrutiny from city leaders and national experts. ABC10's Nazi Javid explains.
The Youth Peace and Justice Foundation is a Texas-based nonprofit that came to our attention after claiming a role in violence prevention following Stockton's deadly mass shooting. Stockton Mayor Christina Fugazi says the city has no working relationship with the group and questions its presence here.
They have no business in our city.
The mayor says what upsets her most is the timing and context.
It just bothers me to no end that somebody wants to take advantage of a tragedy that happened in Stockton.
She also questions how the foundation is communicating and who it is relying on to write up information.
I don't know who they're talking to other than ChatGPT.
The mayor goes further, raising serious concerns about motive.
Don't come into my city and think that you're going to profit off of our people.
To understand what legitimacy and transparency should look like, I turn to a national nonprofit watchdog.
They'll have a statement of what their mission is, a summary of what they've accomplished in the past year, along with a board roster, and some type of financial summary or statement.
When he reviewed the foundation's website, he says those elements were missing. He also warns the public not to confuse IRS status with oversight.
If someone has received charitable tax-exempt status from the IRS, it doesn't mean the IRS has approved them or endorses them.
The foundation has also referenced a violence prevention strategy known as Group Violence Intervention, or GVI. The man who helped develop that model, Dr. David Kennedy, says the language being used does not match real practice.
There is no such thing as a GVI conference. There is no such thing as a conditional truce.
Kennedy says that alone is a red flag, and he's seen this pattern before.
This appears to be something this group does, that they show up in the aftermath of tragedies and tell the locals that they're there to help and that they want money. And I think they've gotten pretty much the same reaction in these other places.
I do think it's a scam. I think it's a money grab.
I also made repeated attempts to contact the foundation directly.
We've been unable to reach you,
and my attempts to reach them were ignored. In Stockton, Nazi Javid, ABC10.
And the Stockton City Council is actually meeting as we speak at 5:30. The mayor says the funds would be spread over community organizations like police, the DA's office, and the Office of Violence Prevention.
Investigators continue to search for the person responsible for a shooting that left 2 students dead and 9 others wounded at Brown University over the weekend. Authorities are asking the public for help. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest from Providence, Rhode Island.
These pieces of video now important pieces of the puzzle in the investigation into the deadly shooting at Brown University. This is the latest image released today by police. The FBI describing this person of interest as a man with a 5'8" stocky build.
They're going to start trying to piecemeal back on those videos to find any other information that they can.
Police say the university was specifically targeted.
They're going to be looking at anyone who has any beef at all, any disagreement with Brown University.
A line of flowers placed outside the building where 2 students were killed during a study session Saturday. Students still very shaken up.
So many people walk those streets where he's been shown, and it feels like such a violation.
The university's president sending a letter to the community remembering sophomore Ella Cook and freshman Mohammed Umerzakov. She says Ella came to Brown from Alabama as a passionate and intellectually curious student who was interested in French and Francophone studies. She was an accomplished pianist and the vice president of the College Republicans of America group at Brown, who posted this photo of her. Mohammed, a dual citizen of the U.S. and Uzbekistan, graduated from a Virginia high school before coming to Brown just a few months ago in the fall in hopes of becoming a doctor. He's described as smart, funny, and driven.
He was a compassionate person. He had huge dreams to become a neurosurgeon.
2 of the students injured have been released from the hospital. 7 people are still there recovering. Rena Roy, ABC News, Providence, Rhode Island.
And funerals are beginning in Australia for the victims of that mass shooting at Bondi Beach over the weekend. 15 people were shot and killed by 2 suspects, a father and son, at a celebration marking the beginning of Hanukkah. Australian officials call the attack a terrorist incident targeting Sydney's Jewish population. New South Wales police say the attack was inspired by an Islamic State group.
It would appear that there is evidence that this was inspired by a terrorist organisation, by ISIS. Now, some of the evidence which is being procured, including the presence of Islamic State flags in the vehicle that has been seized, are a part of that.
22 people remain in the hospital for their injuries. 9 of them are in critical condition. Officials say they're considering new gun laws that would limit the number of guns someone can own.
Tonight, after a brutal attack in Sacramento's Lavender Heights neighborhood, city leaders and the LGBT Center are coming together to talk with the community about safety. The conversation centers on the assault of Alvin Prasad after he celebrated Halloween. His daughter says he remains in a coma, still fighting for his life. Sacramento City Council member Phil Pluckybaum says there have been concerns among the LGBTQ+ community, and the attack has sparked a forum on safety in the neighborhood happening tonight at the LGBT Center.
It feels like there has been increasing incidents from folks that we talk to in community. More community members are coming forward and talking about how things are happening, how they feel unsafe. So we are responding to everything that's been going on since the attack on Alvin.
Following Alvin's attack, officers arrested 24-year-old Sean Payton Jr., who's being held in jail without bail. He was charged with assault with force likely to cause great bodily injury, personally inflicting great bodily injury, a hate crime allegation, and resisting arrest. Coming up tonight at 6, what Alvin's daughter has to say about her safety concerns.
Well, some relief for those who commute to and from the Bay Area. New express lanes are now open on I-80. The lanes will operate eastbound from Red Top Road in Fairfield to Leisure Town Road in Vacaville, and westbound from Leisure Town Road in Vacaville to Red Top Road in Fairfield. The hours are 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. To use the lanes, you must have a standard Fast Track or Fast Track Flex toll tag.
Coming up, Proposition 50 faces legal challenges from California Republicans, now in the second day of lawsuit hearings.
Plus, a settlement with 2 car companies over security weaknesses that allegedly make their cars, quote, easy to steal.
Multiple systems coming in from the Pacific, and that will bring us a lot of rain, as well as a very slow progression to snow in the Sierra.
Okay, so we're continuing to track the federal lawsuit challenging California's Proposition 50. You may remember that's the ballot measure to temporarily redraw state congressional lines.
Today was day 2 of what's scheduled to be a 3-day hearing, and we're learning more now about why a key voice in the case did not take the stand. ABC 10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Huh joins us now with the latest details.
And Jenny, I know it has been a busy day, so we do thank you for making time to chat with us about this. We're just trying to make sense of it all. Yeah. So let's kind of start with the big picture here. We know that this lawsuit is unfolding under kind of a new context, right? Because the Supreme Court, they voted in favor or decided in favor of new maps in Texas, right?
Exactly. And it's been a busy day in the newsroom. Like you said, it's just been paper after paper, a lot of filings here. But exactly, the Supreme Court in the Texas redistricting case, essentially ruled that, hey, sure, there were concerns over race, that they were actually suppressing a certain minority voter bloc, but that because it was all in the name of a political interest, right, to advance the political agenda of giving 5 more Republican seats in Congress in Texas, that it was okay. And so that's the new context we're working with here. For California, the argument by Republicans is that California used race as a justification to redraw these lines, but hey, technically Texas did the same thing, and the Supreme Court upheld that redistricting. So a lot of folks here are now arguing the validity and the strength of that GOP argument. Does that still stand, given that the Supreme Court stood in favor of Texas? So it'll be very interesting to see how the court here in California rules, the federal court here in California, and regardless of which side kind of gets the win in this case, they'll likely appeal to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, thank you so much for unpacking all of that, because I know viewers really want to understand the meat of really what's at stake here. Jenny, let's talk now about the main person in question, Paul Mitchell. That's the guy behind the maps. He drew them himself. He worked closely with the legislature. So everyone's asking, why no testimony?
And I want to be clear, he did give a 7-hour deposition. He just didn't take to the stand officially. And so the reason that happened is what I'm hearing from a lot of legal experts is that Paul was served a subpoena early December, but here in Sacramento. That is outside of a 100-mile radius of where all the court proceedings are happening in Los Angeles. And so by law, he wasn't required to take the stand. So that is what a lot of legal experts are telling me. But he, again, provided that 7-hour deposition, but what the other side, so the Republicans in the case, are arguing is that despite that deposition, he actually cited legislative privilege and refused to answer a lot of the questions that they were answering. So for the Republican perspective, the evidence that they were seeking to build their argument of, hey, race was a primary factor in how Paul Mitchell drew these maps, they didn't quite get a sufficient amount of that evidence. And so they actually asked for an adverse inference by the court, which basically means any negative assumptions they make as a result of Paul refusing to provide additional information would be applied to the defendants, which includes Governor Newsom. So Governor Newsom has been saying, hey, whatever negative assumption the court applies to Paul Mitchell, he's not a party in this lawsuit, so don't apply that to us as well. That's a little confusing, but there's a lot that is happening in this lawsuit.
Well, let's just dig a little deeper here, because I know the claims that are being made is the Democratic Party is essentially they're the defendants in this lawsuit, and that they're, quote, preventing Mitchell from testifying. How do you clarify that for
So that
us?
was a lot of the hearsay that we were hearing, but kind of like I just answered, it's more so that he provided the 7-hour deposition. It's maybe the political talk is that the Democrats are preventing him from doing that, but the reality is he gave that 7-hour deposition, just didn't take to the stand to officially testify.
Jenny Ho, we always appreciate your perspective and insight. You dig a lot into this, so we appreciate all that information, helping us digest it all.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. Meanwhile, California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced a settlement has been reached with Kia and Hyundai for security weaknesses in their cars. The auto companies sold millions of cars without industry-standard anti-theft technology, making it easier for thieves to hotwire and steal the vehicles. Kia and Hyundai have agreed to install security updates to all future cars sold and will compensate customers who had their cars damaged by thieves. Once the settlement is approved, some consumers will have a year to schedule the free installation of anti-theft technology on their vehicle at a local dealership. We're back after this. Okay, let's talk weather now. Ooh, you probably felt it. You saw it. A break in the pattern of the fog. What is that? Sunshine? This is video from earlier today in downtown Sacramento. That sun peeking through the clouds. Temperatures warming up just a little bit. But as we bring in Monica now, we want to know, is it going to stick around?
I understand. Just as it makes a return, you're tracking rain in the forecast.
I know. People looked a little lighter on their feet though today, didn't they? They were like, enjoying some of those sun rays. As far as the forecast, we're still going to see some peaks of sunshine. That's kind of the good news in all of this. Low clouds will start to be clearing as those showers continue to move our way periodically over the next couple of days. Very little valley accumulation, but we'll get there. Christmas week especially, rain and snow chances ramp up, as do the accumulations. Highs for today finally breaking out of the 40s. 48 for Modesto, but elsewhere we got into the 50s this afternoon, even with just a few peaks of sunshine. 63 for Placerville, 50s for Jackson and Auburn, near 50 for the Sierra. So finally, again, starting to see a break in those 40s. Low clouds, we got to 51 for today, but that's after about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks of steady temperatures in the 40s. And this extended even beyond that, because keep in mind, this all got started Thanksgiving week. I was talking to some of my kids that are coming back from Southern California. They said, you haven't cleared out yet from that fog that we left? I said, no, we're finally starting to clear out. Right now in the valley, we're looking at just a few clouds drifting through periodically. 40s right now, 46 for Tahoe with cloudy skies and periods of rain on and off through tonight. We'll get some of those rain showers coming through right about and roughly around sunrise tomorrow. Temperatures are going to be warming overnight as we inject a lot of that almost tropical moisture heading our way, keeping the snow line very high over the next 72 to almost 96 hours. So you can see with our satellite and radar some bands of rain drifting through the foothills and the Sierra, all of it kind of breaking apart right now. The biggest precipitation is going to be well north of us along the northwest coast, and they're going to be pretty much socked in with it over the next several days, especially around Humboldt County, looking at some pretty significant rain totals. Weather timeline here. Mostly cloudy for today. Rain beginning periodically. Valley showers tomorrow with high elevation snow. Now late week, we see a bit more widespread rain, especially on Friday with rain at the passes. Christmas week is when we finally start to see that snow line drop, but it's going to be slow going here to get to that snow. It's coming. But don't lose your patience. We're finally going to get some snow in this year. 8 to 14 day weather hazard outlook. This really puts us right in that line of moderate precipitation, likelihood of seeing some heavy rainfall. And then 8 to 14 day weather hazard outlook for this year, also starting to showcase more in the moderate to almost high range of heavy snow along this Sierra spine and all the way through the coastal range. Our model comparison, this is just a rough estimate of what we could see. Keep in mind, this is going to be 7 to 10 day estimate here. About 3 to 4 plus inches of rain throughout the Central Valley. A little bit lighter amounts as you start to make your way southward, but the foothills potentially anywhere from about 8 to 10 plus inches of rain. Our futurecast showing the onset of those rain bands coming through for tomorrow, continuing into our Friday forecast. And again, we'll get periods of breaks here. By the weekend, Sunday looks pretty wet, and then it is just going to be a steady stream of rain coming in. But it looks like initially it's going to be rain for this year, really not turning over to snow until we get just around the holidays. So 40s for tomorrow for this year, 50s down the hill. As we take a look at our extended forecast, we really start to see how this all unfolds when you lay it all out over the next 10 days. A lot of rain starting Friday and lasting through much of that holiday week.
So just keep an eye on the forecast, depending on what day you might be traveling, where exactly you might be traveling.
Yep.
We just don't want people to be caught off guard by this, right, Monica, especially as people have holiday travel plans.
Yeah, because changing conditions in the Sierra, and then also that rain starts to move south into Southern California.
Okay, we're back right after this. Okay, before we go, listen to this. What started as a father-son tradition has turned into a way to give back to kids in Stockton during the holidays.
I wanted to donate my toys because I love seeing all the kids smile.
Yeah, that's Brady Zaragoza. Brady and his dad started the tradition of donating his toys every holiday season after Brady told his dad the one thing he wanted for Christmas was for every kid to get a toy. How awesome is Brady, huh?
Yes, he's a little cutie pie.
So considerate, and even had Santa stop by tonight.
Such a treat. He's on his way. Just a few more days. Thanks so much for joining us. Watch us anytime, any day on your schedule by downloading the ABC10 app.